This is Brindlewood Bay, Last Resort. I'm not sure what part we're on, but we will sort it out on YouTube sometime. It's been a couple weeks since we have met, so let's do some recapping. Last time, I can't remember who was here last time, but last time we did our Christmas mystery, Jingle Bell Shock. It was great fun, and you all solved it. And so there's no active mystery right now, so we're starting fresh. As far as that goes, you have 12 void clues, getting closer and closer to the void mystery. And all of the Mavens are pretty laden with conditions. After we introduce the mystery, if you all want to dive out to go do intimate moves, whatever that's called in this game, the cozy move, by all means, go do that. So with all that said, do we have any questions about anything or anything we want to be reminded of? I gather we have some new moves that happened as a result of advancements. What are those?
B now, in addition to the Fox Mulder move, has the move Gordon Shumway. So my pet cat, who is a tiger striped Bengal kitty, named Baby, follows me around everywhere and can do some tricks and follows simple commands. So
we have a cat and a dog. Good. So the party is up to six members. Yes, it's good. Fabulous. Thank you. And do I understand that you have a move as well, LMA?
I actually think I picked it up before the last session, but it's the Michael Knight move.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, said that I'd taken basically kind of given me access to Etienne's fish truck as a.
That's right. Yes.
As a way to both have transportation and complicate the scenario.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Because he kind of was like, didn't he like almost show up at Jingle Bell Shock because he was getting his truck back or something? Or I feel like it was something like that.
Yeah, and then I still have the condition catch of the day, so I thought let's just play into that as
that's true. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Fantastic. All right. Well, then if there's nothing else, we shall introduce the new mystery. The new mystery is called The Long Dark Tea Time of the Soulless. We have actually seen some of the characters that figure prominently in this mystery before, briefly, but we're going to get in real deep with them today. So, the Coles, Ava and Phoenix, are a couple newly arrived in Brindlewood Bay. They abandoned their vague but presumably lucrative careers in New York to move to our quaint seaside town. They renovated an old farmhouse, Stockton Farm, on the edge of town, reopening it as a Snowdrop House, Brindlewood Bay's newest bed and breakfast. The Mavens are visiting Snowdrop House to sample what the Coles boast is the finest afternoon tea in all of Brindlewood Bay. Tea is served in the parlor. We have a bit of a paint the scene here. A fire crackles cheerfully in the hearth, heating the room to a drowsy fug. The room has been furnished in fussy Victorian gentility. But what in the room jars with this image, or hints at the less genteel past of the house?
I imagine a fireplace in the room up against one of the walls, and while they have tried to stylize it, you can clearly see that the fire must have completely consumed one part of like the entirety of the brick, and they've gone and tried to do shabby chic to like cover it up.
There are some scuff marks in the wood on the floor where you can see chairs have been moved around, but there's a corner where you can tell that a chair was sat and shuffled around and implying some sinister past.
Maybe at the wall that faces the cave has a big enlarged photograph of the cave on it, like superimposed where the cave would be.
That's right, because you know there's a cave nearby. That is a thing.
I think every now and again you get this slightest whiff of hay and cow. Just they couldn't get it out of the walls.
Yeah. And trust me, Ava Cole tried to get it out of the walls. Leticia Dawes, an old friend of, let's say B. Leticia Dawes, an old friend of B, is in town, and she is the person who's actually invited you all here. Well, actually, she invited B, but everybody else is just there. So maybe even the dog and the cat too. Leticia is a former investigative journalist. She now writes travel and entertainment pieces as a freelancer to fund her retirement, which is presumably why she's here in Brindlewood Bay. A little establishing question for you, B. In her younger years, Leticia was a hard-hitting, hard-living journalist. You were close friends back in the day, perhaps not the kind of person you would normally be friends with. Life did eventually draw you apart. What was the big story that you helped Leticia break, and how did you raise hell together that might surprise people who know you now?
In my younger years, I was still very actively involved in charitable works. And I found through one of the foundations that I had been helping some pretty shady stuff that may have led to financial exposures and things like that, where we brought down a faith-based Catholic sort of charity that was up to some things that really shocked and horrified some people when they found out. But she and I went undercover in the soup kitchens and talked to everybody and constantly changing disguises and sneaking in. And eventually she started to go off to war-torn countries and I wasn't able to continue the lifestyle.
Yeah, good. I love it. So you and Leticia are catching up. And I guess I would like to know from the other Mavens, are you all at the table with B and Leticia, or are you at a different table? You can be either or both, or you could be one or the other, doesn't matter to me. Violet, are you by yourself or with the others or with Leticia and B?
I'll be with the others, but can I be wearing a disguise? Because the whatchamacallit, person that runs it doesn't think kindly of me, so maybe I'm posing as somebody else because I have that move.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I have the Remington,
Remington
Steel.
Steel. Yeah. So what are you disguised as? Or who?
I'm disguised as an old ranch hand with a mustache, silvered hair, and a trucker hat.
Very good, very good. Let's talk about Dr. Thibault. Who are you with?
I think she would be fascinated by Leticia.
Yeah, good. And LMA?
I'm happy to have a tea and a scone with the old ranch hand, if that works all right.
Very good, very good.
Learn about life on the ranch.
Make Etienne jealous.
So let's sort of introduce all of our future suspects by sort of going around the room. Because this little sort of like parlor area where tea is being served is filled with people who work at the B&B, just 3 apparent employees or people who work there, and some guests. So Ava Cole, and I shall type their names in as we go here.
I've already got that name typed in.
Oh, very good, thank you. It's EVA for what it's worth. So Ava Cole is, she's standing in one corner of the room. She's porcelain perfect. She wears very expensive, very conservative fashion, like imagine like a sort of Christian Dior silhouette, right? The big like billowy bell-shaped dress with an apron over it, a spotless apron, and she is, she's just sort of like keeping an eye on things. Her husband, Phoenix, is a little bit more laid back. He's statuesque. He's very charming. He's actually wearing a sort of like pseudo-Victorian getup. He looks like he's sort of stepped out of like a period movie or something. And he's the one going around actually asking if everyone's having a nice time and all that sort of thing. In fact, he might stop at B and Leticia and Dr. Thibault's table and say, ladies, are we enjoying what some are calling the finest tea in Brindlewood Bay?
B is sitting there and scritching baby purring contentedly in her lap. It's really just a lovely, lovely space. You guys have done such wonderful things with the room.
Oh, I'm glad you think so. My wife, Ava, she's very, very serious about the decor at Snowdrop House. She's going for a really particular ambiance. And I have to confess, I had to advocate for the cat a little bit just now, but I think it's going to be okay. And he'll sort of like introduce himself, and he'll introduce himself to you, Dr. Thibault. He'll say, I'm Phoenix Cole, and you are?
Calliope Thibault.
Calliope Thibault.
Pleasure to meet you.
A pleasure to meet you. So I know Ms. Dawes, famous investigative journalist. I know Ms. Baum, pillar of the community. Calliope, what do you do?
I am a retired professor from London, actually.
Oh, well,
where we do
what
tea.
What are you a professor of?
Well, urban legends, fairy tales, history.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. I pursued a doctorate for a time. But yes, I think I got tired of my parents telling me that I wasn't a real doctor if my focus was poetry. So I gave it up. But
you do hear that quite a bit when you have the PhD.
Indeed. Will you ladies enjoy the rest of your tea? That's Phoenix Cole. There is a young man who works at the B&B, Percy Underwood. He comes out of the kitchen with I think he's got like various drinks and things, and he's going about the table, and he's dressed in this like very it's almost like a sort of it's like a waiter's outfit with like a red bow tie and like a beautifully pressed white shirt and a black apron, and he looks like he stepped out of a steak restaurant in Chicago or something, right? Very, very like that. And he's kind of going around, and he'll come up to the table where Violet and LMA are, and he'll say, "Sir, ma'am, how are we enjoying the scones?"
Delicious.
The clotted cream is top notch. Like, just, you must have milked the cows this morning.
Oh, I'm glad you're enjoying it. I will let me go get the pastry chef. He'd love to hear what you think. And then he leaves. There.
I lean in and I say, that was a close one, LMA.
Very good, very good. There is a young woman, probably in her late 20s, sitting in the corner of the room. She has a tape recorder and a microphone in her hand, and you can overhear her. She's saying, "The room had a strange odor, the sort of thing that suggests the ancient history of this place, because Brindlewood Bay is a town with an ancient and dark history." So she's recording as she has her tea. Mrs. Carfax, who you know, some of you know very well, she is the very, very elderly woman who, out of character, I don't know if I know for out of character for sure we know, but I don't know if you all know in character that she is the sister of Jane Leaf of the Jolly Good Baking Show. She's sitting at a table. She's sitting at a table reading a book about checkers strategy. And there is a businessman on his phone. He's like, Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, like shit tons of cultural value. Yeah, sure. Well, we just bulldoze those old places and put some condos up. I mean, this is a winner. I mean, slam dunk, slam dunk. And that's that person. We'll name some of these people later. Percy comes back. He is dressed in a baker's, like a chef's uniform with the hat and like the white coat. And he says, I heard you had some nice things to say about the scones.
I give a
Yeah.
look of straight fear to LMA.
I'm sorry, say that again, Fraser.
Oh, I give a look of straight fear to LMA.
Oh, uh, you can't go wrong with a savory scone in my mind. Kind of a caramelized onion and broccoli, but the clotted cream on the orange scones, even better.
And Percy says, good. I'm so happy to hear it. I'm very, very happy to hear it. And he, in his dramatic chef's outfit, goes back to the back. The door swings to the kitchen. Leticia says, so, B, how are things in Brindlewood Bay? Are you still giving them hell in the town council?
They just refuse to take common sense and good taste seriously. You know I do.
Good. Well, I'm here writing a piece about bed and breakfasts in this town. The title I'm going with is B&Bs in the BB.
Oh, dear God. You really do write some puff now, don't you?
Or maybe B&Bs in the BBM. Massachusetts. Anyway, my editor and I will figure it out. And she's sort of like, she's sipping her juice and, continuing her scone. And then she looks and she's like, who is that? And you can see out the window, you will see old Abraham Stockton, the former owner of the farm, outside the window, looking into the parlor, just glowering, like just a mean look on his face, big shock of red hair and a red beard, just looks mean as hell. And Ava walks over to the window and closes the curtains. So you can't see it. But he's also going on our list, Abraham Stockton. And eventually, a very, very, a very buff, big, beefy deputy in a very well-kept uniform, though it is one size too small. He comes in, he parks his bike, he's a bike cop, parks it kind of just inside the foyer, and he says, you can hear him talking to Ava, and he's asking about Percy. And Ava says, well, Percy's working right now, Deputy Anderson, so maybe you should just come back some other time. And so,
Callie, dear, I'm not finding this tea at all to my liking. Is this how you would do it?
Certainly not. I fear that this B&B watched too much BBC and not enough actual research.
Yes, indeed. Ugh. Maybe, could I get a juice? And I kind of wave for the waiter.
Percy comes out of the kitchen. He is wearing old dungarees. He says, "Oh, sorry, I was just about to do a bit of gardening. But juice, yes, juice." And he goes back out to retrieve the juice. Ava will come up to your table, Violet and LMA, and she'll say, "Ladies, are you enjoying tea?"
Delicious. Although I'm shocked that you don't have blood orange or Earl Grey like I asked for.
She's like, and she says, Miss Hyacinth, you should know that I don't bear you any ill feelings. And this getup that you are currently in is very charming and amusing, but certainly unnecessary. We treat every customer, every guest at Snowdrop House with dignity and good cheer.
Still strange you didn't have that tea though.
She's like, maybe we have something in the back. And she goes out to the back to the kitchen.
I'm gonna raise my little cup of tea to dignity and good cheer.
Leticia, she says, you know, B, I'm sure it's no surprise to you that I'm not just here looking into bed and breakfasts.
I never once thought you were, but it is lovely to see you under any pretense.
She's like, well, since I've got you, I did have a question about, I don't know, maybe it's nothing, but something came up that I think is going to be pretty big news in town and a bit of a scandal. Tell me what you know about
Tish. Oh my.
And she slams face down into the table.
I just look dumbfounded and haunted at Callie, completely frozen, unwilling or unknowingly, completely unaware of what she should do in this situation.
Callie will holler out, call for an ambulance, and move to try and get Leticia on her back on the floor.
Spring into nurse action.
Deputy Anderson who is still there, will rush in. He'll say, oh my goodness, what's going on? Does anyone here know CPR? Oh my God,
I do, but we got a possible choking hazard. We want to, check the passages before we start CPR here.
Okay, all right, you do that. That sounds great. Folks, everything is under control. Don't worry. Now
Perhaps don't drink the tea.
Yeah, he's normally a beach bike cop, dealing with rowdy tourists and lost kids. This is not really his scene, despite being a part of Brindlewood County Sheriff's Department. They have remarkably little training on how to handle situations like this. What are you all doing right now? Everyone else is just like in shock.
I'm gonna see if it's possible to save her. If the plot is that she dies because we need a murder victim, then so be it. But if there's an actual effort for me to save her, I will do so.
There is not. She's
right.
quite dead.
I'll do the dramatic thing where I check for a pulse. She's dead.
Callie will move closer to B and just put an arm around her. And I'm so sorry, dear.
Ava, you probably feel a chill in the air and then realize that Ava is standing over you all. And she says, well, maybe we should move her into the main hall or something, just to keep things tidy.
You callous, heartless, hopeless human. I don't think that you need to worry about tidiness at a time like this.
Deputy Anderson says, I think we're probably not supposed to move the body, just to be clear.
I'm still kneeling by the body. I'm going to look at Ava and say, with dignity and good cheer, right?
Indeed. Have we seen Deputy Anderson before? I can't remember. Is this the first time?
I don't think so.
I'm thinking of another Brindlewood Bay campaign. So he doesn't know what he's doing. He seems very incompetent.
Par for the course of all of the law enforcement at Brindlewood Bay.
he's not even suggesting that everyone stay where they are. He's just he doesn't know what to do. Mrs. Carfax is just She puts her little checkers book down. She goes, oh, what a shame. What a shame. Dr. DeBow, what are you doing?
Leticia had been, what was she last interacting with on the table before? Was it the tea?
Make the meddling move and see. With reason.
Oh. When you're rolling, it helps to put the D in there. 11.
11, very good. Do you want to bump it up?
Not yet, I think.
You will see that she was drinking juice, but pomegranate juice. She had just claimed that it's good for the heart. And you'll see her tipped over glass on the table and the red, blossoming red stain on the previously perfectly pristine white tablecloth. And at the bottom of that glass, there is a greenish film suggesting poison. That's your clue.
B notices Callie starting to observe the table and kind of what she was interacting with. B would like to get her tape recorder or notebooks or anything else and gather whatever her personal belongings would be.
Yeah, you can do that. That's fine. She was actually staying here at Snowdrop House as well. You you hear Phoenix trying to make a joke with Ava, probably in bad taste, but I think this is how he handles Ava. You can hear him say, "Well, honey, look at the bright side. We can rent out that room again."
Is B gonna go for that, or is Callie?
I have white hot rage and no words.
Callie will just wheel on him and say, "How dare you? Our friend has just died."
Violet, what are you doing right now?
I have one of those disposable cameras that people buy on vacation, and I'm asking people to line up straight and look at her and then turn to the side and taking pictures of each of them.
I like that. We'll take that as a meddling move. Probably it's like, because a lot of people are just going to like ignore you. They're not going to just do this, right? So how you convince them to do it?
Well, and I also want to document the scene too, like take
Okay.
pictures of everything as well as the people.
You can take it with reason's fine. Go for it.
Reason 1. Ooh, that's a 12.
Very good. Let's grab you a clue and a void clue. So you're taking pictures. Is it a Polaroid? Are you getting the pictures right away, or is it digital, or what?
Well, I'd love it for it to be Polaroids.
Okay, so it's kind of the whole like you pull it out, you shake it for a little bit, all that business. That's gonna take a minute, so I'll give you your clue later. LMA, what are you doing right now?
I am curious what our two unnamed suspects are up to, the woman with the tape recorder and the businessman with his phone. How are they reacting to this?
Oh, so the businessman is just like, the businessman is like, yeah, dead. Yeah. I mean, maybe we could I don't know, maybe we could go with like a whole ghost murder mystery angle or something. People love that kind of shit, And the podcaster, she says, of course it would happen here. The town of Brindlewood Bay has been under a shroud of darkness ever since the Deep Reaver went on that fateful voyage. What do you do when you see that she's sort of floridly documenting the scene, LMA?
Yeah, I'll kind of give her I don't know, that sort of side glance and say, for someone so young, you seem pretty versed in the history of this town. You didn't order any pomegranate juice, did you?
She says, the older woman approached me, her gait slowed by age, but determination in her eyes. Actually, before you keep talking, could you sign this little non-disclosure, this little waiver? That'd be great.
That's hilarious. I'm going to take the little non-disclosure agreement and fold it up and put it in my handbag and say, honey, is this your first time with a corpse? It seems you might need a little lesson on the decorum.
She's like, well, I mean, this is what I'm here for. I mean, I'm a true crime podcaster. Perhaps you've heard of my show. It's
I don't even know your name, sweetie.
Massachusetts Murder Mysteries. Shortened frequently to Mass Murder Mysteries. Kind of weird. People think it's about, serial killers and stuff, and sometimes it is. But no, we focus on Massachusetts-based true crime with a specific emphasis on mysteries, and there is no town of more interest right now to the true crime community than Brindlewood Bay, which is why I'm here. And I have to tell you,
sense, but personally, I prefer a book over a podcast.
No.
It's with.
So that's fine. I get that. You are from a different generation. That makes sense. I understand that completely. But you should know that Mass Murder Mysteries is currently, we are currently 319 in the top 500 of true crime podcasts. So moving up.
I'm going to turn back to my fellow Mavens and say, did Amanda Delacourt ever encounter a podcaster? Is that what they call him? Podcaster?
Oh, Amanda Delacourt. Robin, don't tell me you're a Robin Masterson fan. Just a complete hack.
I am actually a close friend of Miss Masterson.
She's like, oh, really? That's somewhat interesting.
It's just insult after insult here.
At this point, B needs to get away from this because it is not helping anything at all. And no one seems to have the appropriate horror that I'm feeling right now. So I'm going to march up to Ava and Phoenix in the corner or by the door, wherever those two jerks are. And she is going to level a cold stare that is unrivaled in all of Brindlewood Bay. I would like you to show me to her room now.
Ava says, Miss Baub, while I do recognize that you are a pillar of the community and that you're probably accustomed to getting your way, this is our private property.
I'm afraid that you do not understand. I need to go to her room and collect her things because my friend is dead in your parlor.
Have the day move with presence. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I'm going to punch her in the face.
Good. With composure then.
Ooh. 8 plus. So 8, 9, 10, 11.
Very good. She says, very well, Miss Baub. Phoenix, will you show her to the late Miss Dawes' room? And Phoenix says, yes, I will. Miss Baum, follow me.
Thank you.
Takes you upstairs to the rooms. Violet, Percy Underwood comes back out from the back. He is currently dressed like Sherlock Holmes with the little hat, sort of whatever those little hats are called, and a little sort of, tweed cloak. And he has a magnifying glass. He says, I'm a theater major. I like to try out different characters, and I have not frequently had the opportunity to do this sort of man of mystery thing, or man who solves mysteries, I suppose.
I think that the real thing would only sour you on the experience, and you should stay back. And I whip out my crime scene tape.
He says, Well, so what do you think happened?
Well, I haven't examined that yet. We have a very strict relegated sense of what all the murder mavens do at a crime scene, and as you can see, mine is to keep you people back.
He says, oh, one of your pictures is done developing. Points at the table.
I still face him, so I back away behind myself, or like walk back and grab it and look at it, but I keep one eye on him still.
Here's your clue. Hold on. I'm changing the clue. Hold on 1 second. Oh. Your clue is you managed to get a shot of Deputy Anderson, and Deputy Anderson is wearing a very expensive Rolex. It probably costs like $50,000. Why would he have such a watch? Is it directly connected to Leticia? In character, who you probably don't know, who knows, out of character, maybe. It's a clue of some sort, though. It suggests that Deputy Anderson might be more than he seems. Percy's leaning over with his magnifying glass. So,
Does he even notice it?
What are we looking at here?
We're just looking for clues. What is
He's
it that you
he's
notice?
Oh, that's Brett. Oh, Brett.
That's
like,
the guy?
It's the cop, yeah. He's like, Brett and I, we were kind of a thing for a little bit, and now he comes by her all the time. Ugh, he's a pest.
And does Brett come from a moneyed background?
What? No, he's a bike cop.
I see. And do you come from a moneyed background? Did you give him any expensive gifts, for instance?
Oh, you're talking about that watch, huh?
Maybe. I'll ask the questions.
It's like, well, let's just say that Brett might have a side hustle, but you didn't hear that from me.
Interesting. And what is a side hustle?
He's like, oh, you're funny. And he's like, it's a dance. Boogie, woogie, woogie. And he says, well, I better go start clearing up a little bit. LMA, let's get everybody else sorted in time and space here. B, you're going upstairs. Dr. Thibault, you had just examined the glass. What are you doing now?
I think I'd like to get to the kitchen.
Okay. And LMA, where were you? You once you realized that there's no saving Leticia.
Yeah.
You were talking to the podcaster. That's right.
I was talking to the podcaster. I feel like there's a little more to try and learn from them.
You can. Yeah, you can. You totally can.
Yeah.
She'll keep going. We can keep going with that for a bit. She says, so I feel like we maybe got off on the wrong foot. I confess that I might be a little out of my depth here. And I get the impression that you might be one of the legendary murder mavens of Brindlewood Bay. You're very well known in the true crime community. And maybe we could work together on this.
Well, I'm glad that you finally recognized the company that you've sort of stumbled into here. We've solved a crime or two in our time. It's true.
Could you just say that again, a little louder into the mic?
We've solved a crime or two in our time.
Oh, that's good. I like the quaver in your voice. It kind of adds to the idea of elderly women solving crimes.
I'm curious, did you know the victim at all, Miss Dawes?
She says, "Oh well, I by reputation, I think she's didn't she do some hard-hitting stories back in the 70s or something?"
That's my understanding, is that she was quite a renowned journalist, and I feel like, you know, you with your own research, probably it might give you well, I don't know, a motive to come here and you know, converse with her, perhaps.
Well, the story is that's not why I was here, but this is certainly turning out to be a really, really interesting case. I have a feeling that when this episode goes live, our Patreon support is going to skyrocket. I'm pretty excited about that. This is big. This is real big. So where should we start?
That's a good question. Normally one needs to find out who your suspects are, what their motives were, look for evidence, things like that. What would you, with your podcasting experience, look for if you were searching for clues about this right now? I'll kind of gesture to the room.
She's like, well, first I try to go figure out as much as I could from Wikipedia. And then, well, I'm not really sure. Cutting back over to Dr. Thibault. So you're in the kitchen, Dr. Thibault. The kitchen prominently features an old wood-burning range, and the whole place kind of feels like a step back in time. You can smell the sweet scent of baking suffused throughout the room. What signs, paint the scene, everyone, what signs of the unusual abundance or seasonality of the produce used here is on display?
Is it still winter or early spring now?
I think it's probably like early spring now. Yeah.
You said signs of abundance or unseasonality? Is that what you said?
Abundance or seasonality.
Seasonality, okay.
As it was previously a farm, I think that there are probably still several different like fava beans and some crops that grow in earnest without even tilling or preparing them. So you can see these big sacks of fresh beans that Percy's probably with his overalls gone to collect for soup or what have you.
I think in the corner there is a big basket of pomegranates, which shouldn't be in season for this part of the world.
Did not.
Picturing like a counter with just a massive array of freshly picked ramps laid out, kind of brilliantly green, little clumps of dirt still stuck on the roots.
Nice.
Maybe a big compost with like a whole bunch of different kinds of vegetables, and maybe there's like something growing out of it.
Very good. So, Dr. Thibault, what do you do?
Going to try and find the pomegranate juice first. Did it come from the fridge? Was it freshly pressed?
Make a meddling move with reason.
$11.
Nice. Let's take a look here. You open up the did you go into the check refrigerator, I assume, for the juice?
Yes.
No sign of the pomegranate juice, but when you open up the refrigerator, you see a stack of like basically something like things stuffed in brown paper bags stacked on top of one another, crumpled brown paper bags. And if you poke around in that, you see that it is bundles of some sort of illegal substance, heroin, perhaps, cocaine, perhaps. I don't know how much you know about such things, but it looks like drugs being kept cold in the refrigerator. That's your clue. Meanwhile, B, you are in one of the bedrooms. Snowdrop House boasts a number of themed bedrooms ranging from over-the-top fantasias and lace to more modern and subdued offerings. As you look around in Leticia's room, what about the decor of the rooms, of this particular room, feels sinister, but in an easily dismissible way? This could be for everyone or just for B.
The wallpaper covering is wall to ceiling, and it's of a forest. And so all of the branches and everything kind of, the pattern follows up, and the ceiling looks more like the canopy. But it is a nighttime scene, and the branches are very dark, and it should feel wooded and charming, but it feels oppressive.
Good. Anybody else want to add anything?
Maybe the rug subtly, whatever the patterning is, I don't know anything about rugs really, but the patterning subtly makes like a strange symbol in the center of it.
Nice.
Maybe some kind of pagan thing.
The floor kind of slopes away from the corner, so if you're not expecting it, you're always a little off balance.
Very nice. Anything to add, Elme or Brian? Okay. So B, what do you do?
I turn to Phoenix and I say, you know, I was looking for my juice. I ordered a juice downstairs. I'm sorry, this has all been so much. I think I'm going to sit down for a minute. Could you get me some of the juice, please?
He's like, please sit. You seem like this must be very, very hard for you. I gather that Miss Dawes was a close friend.
A very dear friend for
He
years.
sits down next to you and he takes your hand in his hands. He says, and they're they're incredibly soft and warm. And he says, I just want you to know that if I were the type of man who prays at night, I would pray for you.
That's nice, dear. And I pat his hand. Could you please go see where that juice is, though? I'm feeling quite dry.
Oh, sure. Do you need it? Is this like a diabetes thing or something?
I don't think that's any of your business, young man.
Don't worry. I'll go grab the juice. You just stay right here. Don't get up too suddenly.
Of course, I'm feeling just a bit lightheaded. Yes, thank you.
And he goes and leaves you there. Then what?
And I'm fine. And now I need to rip apart her room to find out what on earth she was researching, and what she might have uncovered of this scandal of giant proportions, and what might have, if very likely, got her killed.
Do it with composure to do it kind of quickly.
Hot dice. That is a 13.
Wow, they are hot dice. We'll come back to that. I owe you 2 void clues now in total. Speaking of which, Violet, you have an array of Polaroid pictures in front of you now. And each of these pictures has a theme running through them, which is the black dog with the red eyes is in every photo, staring directly into the camera, sometimes off to the side, sometimes perfectly centered in frame. The picture with Mrs. Carfax is the only one where the subject matter actually interacts with the dog. She's holding the dog and feeding it a bit of scone. There's no sign of a black dog in the parlor. How does it make you feel? Do you have the black dog condition like everyone else? You do.
I do.
I would like for you to make the day move. What are you afraid is going to happen if you lose your nerve right now?
That the eyes of the red dog will be like superimposed on my vision.
Very good. And make that roll with disadvantage, please.
I have a feeling the dice ain't gonna be hot anymore. For composure, you said?
Actually, it would be sensitivity now.
Sensitivity.
Yeah, because of the supernatural nature.
Ooh, yeah. Wow, even advantage wouldn't have helped me. 5.
Very good. I think Percy looks at you and his eyes are glowing red and he says, "Are you okay? Miss Hyacinth, you look like you you dropped your mustache, first of all. And second of all, you look like you've seen a ghost or something. Are you all right?"
And I gulp and say, "Do you wear contacts?"
Well, only when I'm performing. I like to, even though on stage no one can really see the color of your eyes, it's about the immersion for me,
I say, "Oh my God, look at that." Then I run away.
I'm going to give you a condition here. The condition is they all have red eyes. When you look around, everyone's got these glowing red eyes. You already have 3 conditions, so you have to mark your crown, regrettably. Either queen or void, your choice. And replace the black dog. Let's cut back. Let's take a break now. Let's take 5. So the podcaster LMA introduces herself as Lara Sanchez. And she says, and she had asked you, like, well, how should we get started? What should we do? She's like, I think probably we're a little bit past Wikipedia at this point. I mean, we are here. We're in the middle of it. We're in the shit, as my uncle used to say about Nam.
Indeed. Well, I would suggest that we start by talking to this business person here over my shoulder, because he's a stranger in town and we don't know much about him.
Okay. Well, so I'll just narrate, and you do your thing. The elderly woman slowly got up from the table. The creaking sound, perhaps indicative of the creaking in her old bones. And she stepped over to the slick, bespectacled businessman talking on his BlackBerry.
Excuse me, sir.
He says, Robbie, hold on a second. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, everyone's, I know it's a lot. I know. I'm about to, I don't know. Like, it's chaos. It's total chaos. He hangs up he puts the call down. Yes, can I help you?
Yeah, I think you're new to Brindlewood Bay. I've not met you before.
Well, I am new to town, but I have a feeling you're going to be seeing a lot more of me around here in the future.
Real estate speculator?
You might say that. Did you have a house you wanted to sell, ma'am? I'm Damien Swallow. You've probably seen our billboards. We swallow up old homes.
At some point, I'm going to need to sell my house. We might be able to talk about that, but I'm more concerned about your why here, why today, why at the Snowdrop.
Oh, well, we had heard that this place was available for purchase, but I guess we were wrong about that. I didn't know that the coals had swept in out from underneath us. But since I'm here, figured I'd have a scone, as they say, across the pond.
Do you know anything about podcasting? Because I just met this lovely young lady, Miss Sanchez here.
She's like, "Hi, could I get you to fill out this waiver, please? Thank you." And he said, just takes it and he signs it. He's like, "Here you go." Heads it back. He like grabs the mic from her and says, "I'm Damien Swallow. I'm a real estate developer, and I'm here in Brindlewood Bay, looking for some low price conquests and tax liens."
Quick question. Leticia, is she from out of town? Does she live in Brindlewood?
She's from out of town. Yeah.
Okay. So, Mr. Swallows, what are some of your latest acquisitions? What are some properties that you've picked up lately?
Take the meddling move. With presence is fine for now. He says, "Has anyone ever told you you're pretty foxy for an old lady?"
You know, a lot of people do say I'm the catch of the day. And straighten up a little bit. Check my hair. But I rolled a 5 on that meddling move, so it didn't go that well.
Good. He says, well, we'll come back to that. Excuse me. Cough. Cutting back over to Violet. So Violet, the situation's gotten very surreal and strange. And Percy says, you look like you need to like, I don't know, like, do you need some water, or do you need like an aspirin or something? I could take you to the back, or if you just need to sit down, get away from this chaos for a little bit.
Yes, please. I'd like that. And just try not to make eye contact with me right now. I'm very vulnerable.
Dr. DeBow, you can hear Percy and Violet coming to the back. What do you do?
Is there a closet, a cupboard?
Yeah, sure, the pantry. Yeah.
I think Callie will grab one of the paper bags and duck into the pantry.
Okay, good. The pantry is more like a closet. There are like lots of costumes and clothing hanging up inside the pantry along with the dry goods. And you can overhear Percy and Violet. He's like, just have a seat there, Miss Hyacinth. Yeah, there you go. Oh, look, you lost your mustache again. Let's get that. Just have a seat, and I'll be right back. And he's going for the pantry, and you can hear him opening the pantry door. Dr. Tabot, what do you do?
Is there any way I can kind of hide within one of the coats,
I
or
think
try to
that's
hide
good.
within?
Yeah, make the day move. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I'll be caught with a bag of drugs.
Very good. Roll with composure.
Seven.
So you're hiding in the clothing. He goes in and he's making a fast change. It's like he's got like a doctor's coat and a stethoscope and a little head thing. He's doing all that. He's doing his change. And he stops for a moment. And he just takes a deep breath. And his eyes roll to the back of his head. And he twists and creaks his neck. And he's just like, how does that make you feel, Dr. Tabot?
I think Callie's trying to figure out whether it's like possession or some kind of theatrical exercise.
Take a condition. You could maybe like suspicious for now.
Should that replace one of my additions?
Yeah, that can replace down a rabbit hole. You have to mark a crown though. He comes back out, Violet. He says, and he's in his doctor uniform. He's like, let's see our patient here. How are you feeling, Mrs. Hyacinth? Is it Mrs. Hyacinth or Ms.?
I'm just shaken. All I really need is just some chamomile and some tea or
Hey,
and
that I
some
can
honey.
do. That I can do. He goes and he puts a kettle on for you. Meanwhile, B, Leticia has a newspaper in her personal belongings. A newspaper from 5 years ago. New York Times. It is a story about the Coles. 5 years ago, they were the heads of a pharma company, Cole Pharmaceutical, and a drug of theirs poisoned a bunch of people, and it ruined their business. And it was a big scandal. They had to go to court and pay lots of damages, and they just narrowly avoided criminal prosecution. But in the 5 years since, people have forgotten about the story, but not Leticia. And that's your clue. Let's talk about that wallpaper. The forest wallpaper. You start to notice things behind the trees. Things moving behind the trees in the wallpaper. You can see now that in one corner of the wallpaper is the farmhouse, this very farmhouse. And you can see that there are figures moving behind the trees. Sailors, seamen, hooded figures as well. They're all moving through the forest up to another corner of the room where there's a cave mouth. They're going into the cave mouth. I would like for you to take a, do the day move. What are you afraid is going to happen if you lose your nerve?
Sorry, my out of character jokes are influencing my in character fear. I am worried that I will be consumed in this darkness and pulled into the forest. What am I rolling with?
It's going to be sensitivity.
8 plus, don't know if I have any sensitivity. Let's look. Nope, just an 8.
Very good. Go ahead and add a condition unnerved. And well, before you add that, how do you feel seeing this strange thing taking place on the wallpaper?
Unnerved works, maybe haunted.
Haunted is good.
Is part of that a void clue?
That is the void clue.
Okay.
You're up to 14 void clues. Very close.
And
you have 2 for your purposes of your move too. What do you do after you're done seeing this? Probably Phoenix will be back soon. You might hear him on the stairs.
I am going to take my real fear and turn it into tears as if I have been grieving my friend, and go over to the dresser and maybe pick up an article of clothing of hers and look very sad when he walks back in.
He comes in, he's like, oh, my dear heart. And he goes and takes your hand There. It'll be all right. Are you feeling a sense of your own mortality right now? Is that what's happening?
I really think it is the loss of my friend I'm feeling. I imagine I'll
Right.
still outlive
Yes.
you, my dear.
Oh, that's probably true. That's probably true. I have a terminal illness that's going to kill me in 3 months.
My dear God, what?
I'm joking. Just a little bit.
Oh,
I have that sort of sense of humor. I'm sorry. Just to lighten
yes.
the mood, break the tension.
Well, I imagine being married to your wife, you need to do that fairly often.
Oh,
And I'm
yes.
kind of tidying my tears.
There. Oh, there. Here, let me get you. He goes into Leticia's things and gets a handkerchief. There, take this. All right, good.
You know what? I could really just use a hug. I think that I just need some comfort. And I kind of like move in to see if I can
Hug him.
Elicit a hug from this man.
He's like, oh yes, there you go. It's one of those like it's like one of those like the arms don't really touch your back and it just sort of pats you in the middle of your back, sort of hugs. Yeah.
Is there some sort of move that I could make to see if he's like got anything
You can do
hidden in
meddling
his
move.
like
Yeah,
I really
yeah.
want to.
Yeah, do meddling move with presence, I think. It's probably fine.
Oh, nope. Old lady got caught fondling the gentleman because that's a 2. That's a 2.
We should come back to that. So we have a miss right now. We have a miss with LMA as well. Yeah, good. Let's go back to LMA for a moment. LMA, while you're chatting with Damien Swallows and Laura's moving a microphone between the two of you. Abraham Stockton is standing in the doorway of the parlor. His wild red hair, bushy beard, just sort of going in all directions. And he's wearing overalls. And he says, "Cursed! This land is cursed! And for 3 generations, the Stockton family kept that curse in check. But then the banks took the farm and unleashed evil."
I'm gonna turn to Laura and say, "Did you get that on your recording? That was
She's like,
quality."
She's like, "No, I didn't." She's like, "Sir, first of all, could you fill out this waiver?" He's like, "Cursed!" And she's like, "Oh." And he like steps into the parlor and he's like looking at Damien, this hard look, and he says, "It's men like you who let the evil in the world rise to the surface. You don't understand. You don't understand how the world is. You don't understand what lies below." And he like tackles Damien Swallow and is attacking Damien Swallows quite violently, throttling him. LMA, what do you do? Deputy Anderson's like, "Mr. Stockton, no, come on. Oh, come on."
Yeah, we could have 2 deaths in or 2 murders in one room here in just a moment. Is there like I'll take a log from the fire by the fireplace and try and plonk Stockton in the back of the head with it.
Day move. What do you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
Oh, I get injured. I'm an old lady, so I could easily break something.
Okay.
I could clock Mr. Swallows instead.
Roll vitality.
Vitality?
Yeah, vitality.
Wait. Oh, sorry. It's just like it was 1 line above on my character sheet. I didn't see it. A 4. If you time to mark a mask.
I kind of like your last bit. I'll take over. You raise this big thing of wood and bring it down, and Abraham like just manages by happenstance to move out of the way, and you just like smash Damien Swallows in the face, caving his face in. And Laura's like, holy shit. And Deputy Anderson's like, oh my God. And Abraham's like, cursed, I tell you, cursed. Unless you want to mark a crowd.
I think I'll mark a crown, otherwise I'm going to jail.
Instead, you can club Abraham and so that he gets off of you. But I think that the complication is going to be that Deputy Anderson will grab you and cool you down outside, you know, both you and Abraham. He's a big guy. He takes you both, scoops you both up, and hauls you out to the front.
Excellent.
Dr. Thibault, you just saw some strange business with, I was about to say Periwinkle, with Percy. What do you do?
Since I'm in his change room already, has he left his personal belongings in here? Perhaps when he came to
It seems
work?
like he uses it like a storage, yeah.
I'll poke around in his bags.
Yeah, go for it. Take the meddling move with probably, I think it's still composure because you're still kind of like trying to stay hidden.
9.
You're going through his personal things. You're going through his personal things. And he has a Scarecrow costume in the pantry, perhaps a seasonal thing that he does, you know, or maybe a Wizard of Oz thing. Maybe he was in a local community production of Wizard of Oz, who knows? And you're kind of just moving that out of the way, but then you feel something like heavy in one of the arms of the Scarecrow costume. And you discover that there's an actual arm in the Scarecrow, in the arm of the costume. Fairly fresh.
Just the arm?
Just the arm.
Okay.
That's a clue. What do you take this? Hi, how are you? Are you keeping it together here? What's going on?
I think that might be a bit much.
Yeah.
And she will flee the closet.
Yeah, take a frightened condition.
Which should that replace?
Oh, you have 3. This is suspicious. I think it's probably switching pretty rapidly here. And Mark Crown. Meanwhile, so at this point, Dr. Thibault bursts out, Violet, right when Percy has a cup of tea prepared. He's like, "Oh my goodness, just what a day we're having here, huh?"
Can I intentionally stand up quickly so that he spills it all over himself and he has to go away?
Oh, sure, absolutely. That's fine. You can just do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm so sorry.
You're like, oh, fiddlesticks. And he's like, well, good thing I have a change of clothes. And he goes into the closet.
Can I close the door behind him and put a chair up
Sure.
against the handle?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Trap him in there. Let's have the 2 of you in the scene.
Callie will kind of have her back against the door as well and just hiss at Violet. There's an arm in there. And I found drugs in the refrigerator.
Drugs and an arm? You've hit the jackpot.
I not the kind of luck I'd prefer.
Well, that's true. But Somebody has to find the clues, and you're a stout, sturdy person.
Yes, and the man in the closet right now was growling and ululating like a crazed thing.
It's been a strange day.
Yes, and also the arm in the closet, just an arm,
Just like a severed arm.
severed arm.
Could you tell if it was a woman's or a man's?
I didn't stop to ask.
Okay. Well, okay. In these situations, I like to calm down by securing a crime scene.
Kind of test the door. It feels pretty secure.
Okay, let's go search his room then. He's clearly evil.
Yeah, yeah.
At
Or
this
wait,
point-
why are
at
we
this
in
point-
his room?
You're in the kitchen. Ava Cole comes in. That was the pantry where he keeps all that stuff.
Oh,
Ava Cole comes to the kitchen and she says, "Oh, you look like the cats that were caught with their paw in the cookie jar or something. Can I help you, ladies?"
we were wondering.
What's going
If-
on there with the pantry door?
I was merely wondering if you have what would be the best accompaniment for heroin?
She's like, "This has been a very, very long afternoon, ladies, and I'm going to have to ask you to go now. Sheriff Dalrymple will be here soon to look into this, to our troubles today, and I'm sure he's going to want to speak to you. And I just think it would be best if everything just sort of reset for a bit. Let's hit the reset button on this afternoon, shall we?"
Well, I've already called the good sheriff and told him about the parcels you have in the refrigerator.
I
Miss
don't know
Cole.
what you're talking about. Perhaps you're referring to some chicken cutlets or something. I don't know. But I'm going to have to ask you to leave, please. And step away from that door, please. Thank you. What is going on?
If we leave, then you have the chance to destroy the evidence, though. So
But
we will
this
leave
is-
with the evidence.
What a dazzling series of events today has been. Thank you, ladies.
Can I try to get the evidence?
I mean, she's not trying to take anything from you, and Dr.
No,
Tebow
yeah.
has the drugs.
Oh, you have some already?
I
Okay.
have one package.
Ah,
All
well,
right. I guess that's
bundle.
enough.
She
Yeah.
moves the chair from the closet door, from the pantry door. She says, "Everything in its place." And Percy comes out of the closet door, and he's wearing a what's he wearing now? I think he's wearing like soccer kit, shorts and soccer shoes and knee-high socks. And he's like, "Oh, well, I guess you're not going to leave me for the rest of the day, Miss Cole." She's like, "No." She lets him go. Maybe you could
Should
show
he not
these.
stay for the sheriff's arrival?
Oh, is that what we're supposed to be doing? I'm sure Sheriff Dalrymple will check in with everyone in his own due time. Percy, why don't you take these ladies out front? And he's like, "Sure, ladies, after you."
I guess we'll go.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Long you got the drugs anyway.
I do have that.
Phoenix Cole says, "Miss Baum, I have something I have to confess to you."
What's that?
He says, well, I don't know how to put this. I know who did it.
How could that possibly be?
Because I saw them tampering with the juice glass.
And so your confession to me is that you know who killed my very dear friend.
I do. I
Would-
didn't put
would
two
you-
and two, I didn't put two and two together until she,
Yes, that's charming impersonation of my dear friend's death. Will you be so kind as to tell me whom?
It's like, it pains me. It pains me. Oh God, it pains me. I think it was my wife. She did it. She murdered your friend. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God.
B doesn't know how else to continue this conversation, so the hug is just implausibly long as she is now comforting him with this
Oh my
startling
God.
confession. Yes,
My
dear, I'm
wife.
so sorry. Shouldn't we tell the sheriff then?
Yes, we should.
Yes.
Will you go with me to tell the sheriff?
He'll be here along. He'll be along. Let's go down. I'm sure my friends are wondering where I am. The hug is again like too long and should be uncomfortable.
And he's like, "Ugh." And he's like walking with like his knees are barely able to hold him up, It's like, oh, things have never been the same. Never been the same since, all that stuff from a few years ago.
There's no Brindlewood equivalent for an insight check here, is there?
No. Except you rolled a miss, and so probably he's lying. Also, he's not a very good actor.
Oh God.
He's like, why? He's saying very loudly as he goes down the stairs. Oh God, why? Meanwhile, what is everyone else doing at this point? LMA, you're outside with Deputy Brett and Abraham. Deputy Brett says, now you two calm down. This is ridiculous. I understand that tensions are high and we had a lot going on today, but that's no need for violence, Ms. That's no need for violence, Ms. Washington. That's not called for. And you, Mr. Stockton, you leave these people alone. What do you say?
So, sorry, what's it? Anderson, right? Deputy Anderson. Say, Deputy, Stockton. This is his place. He knows a great deal of the history here. He might be onto something. I mean, it's a dead body in there. Somebody just died. It's not the first time.
It was the curse, I tell you. I tell you that things are about to get very, very dark in this town. Things that have laid dormant for many, many years are about to awaken. The sleeper is nearly awakened.
And Stockton, I'm sure you've been in that cave over yonder.
Speak not of that cave, LMA Washington, because within that cave is pure evil.
But if I understand right, your family kept it contained. And my point is that Deputy Anderson might not be aware of the service that you provided to the community for all these generations.
It's like, perhaps not. If you're not going to hold me, Brett, I'm leaving. He gets up and Brett's like, you should probably stay, but okay, that's fine, Mr. Stockton. We might check in on you later. Sheriff Dalrymple might have some questions for you or something. I I know I shouldn't have come up here today.
What did bring you up here today, Mr. Anderson?
It's like, oh, just I was just, doing my patrol. You should note that this farm is on the outskirts of town, and his patrol is normally on the beach. So,
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say it's for a beach cop. This is kind of far inland.
yeah. Well, we're a little short staffed right now. We've had retirements, and it's the weekend, and just just picking up the slack.
Is this one of those overtime things? Like the longer you're out, the more you hit the time and a half mark?
Oh yeah, time and a half, all that. Yeah.
That's a way to save up enough money for a nice wristwatch, for instance.
He's like, oh, yeah, yes. I inherited that from my grandfather. I wish it would count your steps or something, though. You'd think for as expensive as it is, it would, have a few more bells
more than tell time.
Yeah.
Well, they don't make them like they used to, do they? Let's see. I don't know about the drugs in the refrigerator yet, do I?
No, you don't know about that yet.
Every now and then I find myself a little tight on cash, and I kind of wish I had just an idea, a scheme, some kind of way to make a little extra money. Are there any suggestions on, I don't know, a way somebody might be willing to turn a blind eye and get in on a grift or something that might help a lady out in her old age? I'm on a fixed income,
I'm a member of law enforcement, right, Miss Washington?
Right, which makes me think that you would know what's legal and what's not, and that kind of hazy gray spot in the middle.
At this point, Dr. Thibault and Violet and Percy in his soccer uniform are all coming outside of the B&B, and Brett sees Percy, and he's like, I thought you said you were quitting the team, that you weren't going to do that anymore. Percy's like, I can do whatever I want, Brett.
You've got a secret intramural soccer betting ring or something.
Who knows? Anyway, but everybody's on the scene now except for B. So, although B might be coming down soon too with Phoenix. So yeah, you might hear from inside Phoenix carrying on at some length.
Well, Anderson, in your role as law enforcement, Brett, I'll call you Brett. Who do you think did it? Like, this is it's clearly
the butler, right?
A trope at best.
He's like, which I think would be Percy, but that's not possible, right, Percy? Percy rolls his eyes.
Percy, why did you change into this outfit and not the Scarecrow, for example?
He's like, oh, that old Scarecrow outfit. That's just that's when we did a local production of Oklahoma. I was a Scarecrow in the field. I'm on a little sort of like soccer team here in town. About to go to practice. Let me know if Sheriff Dalrymple wants to interview me about the,
Perhaps we can call Sheriff Dalrymple now, Deputy Anderson?
He's like, that's a good idea. It's a great idea. He gets on the phone to call Sheriff Dalrymple.
While you're on the phone with him, can you ask him if there's been any people reported missing?
Or missing an arm?
That's a lot. Hold on. Let me just one at a time. He's getting on the phone. Meanwhile, B, what are you doing?
Coming downstairs, what do I see? Like, is it like old Victorian house style where you have stairs to the front door and then the parlor's off to the side? Like, how does it all?
The landing area, which is where you're at, is like where there's like a little. The house has been converted to where, like, basically right by the stairs, there's like a little check-in counter,
Like a concierge desk sort of thing.
Yeah. And the little guest ledgers laid out and everything, and then like you hang left, and that's where the parlor is. So the stairs are up against the wall.
I think I would just be taking Phoenix by the arm still. We're still kind of hand in hand as we go down the stairs. All right. Yes. Well, actually, I can see through the window there. We should tell the deputy what you told me.
He's like, all right.
They're there. And we leave and walk out the front door.
So now everyone's out here, and or at least all of you and Deputy Brett. And Phoenix tells Deputy Brett. Deputy Brett says, "Oh, I mean, I guess that means I need to arrest Mrs. Cole, right?"
I think so. And I think that they should both go down to the station because you'll need to take a statement.
She's in the kitchen.
He's like, okay, all right. I've never arrested anyone before. Okay. Right. 10-4. And he
Make sure to Mirandaize her. I yell after her.
He's like, what is that? Oh, and he goes inside. And Phoenix just collapses down on the little bench next to you, LMA. I can't believe it ended this way. Murder.
Were you in the theater in New York? Did a lot of acting?
Oh no, I was I did a little bit of venture capital and pharmaceuticals stuff.
Yeah, I had a feeling you didn't do a lot of acting.
He's like, oh God. And he buries his face in his hands. Short time later, Deputy Brett is bringing Ava Cole out, and he says, he's got her cuffed, and she's like protesting, of course. She's like, this is an outrage. This is ridiculous. Phoenix, how could you? But she looks very tall and dignified. She's not going to let something like this ruffle her feathers. And he says, now, unfortunately, I'm here on my bike, Mrs. Cole, so I can't, we're going to have to wait for the sheriff to get here. So, and so now there's just an awkward period where we're all just standing there with her in cuffs waiting for Sheriff Dalrymple, and you're all outside. What is everyone doing?
I need to use the facilities.
There's no one to stop you. So go for it.
and I kind of like give a nod at the ladies, and I go right for the kitchen because the fact that she wanted us out of there just makes me think that there's more stuff to uncover there.
When you walk in, you walk in, and like as you walk into the lobby, like Lara like falls down on the floor, right? Because she was right by the door trying to record everything. And she's like, she's like, sorry. She picks up her little recorder and the mic. What's going on out there?
Oh, well,
Actually, could you fill this out? She takes a disclaimer out.
Sure, and I just mark it X.
She's like,
I just need to use the washroom, and I start walking towards the kitchen.
She's like, the old woman in the strange clothing carefully, gingerly walked down the hall. She clearly had the stresses of the day lining her face. Meanwhile, what do you do when you get down to the washroom?
Well, I go to the kitchen, And I
or the
want
kitchen,
to
yeah.
inspect specifically if they have like a loading dock or something like that.
There's like a back door.
I want to look for signs of like some kind of criminal exchanges. Like I'm thinking some sort of weird drug trafficking, somebody found them and was killed thing happening.
Yeah, sounds good. We'll come back to that. And Dr. Tabo, what are you doing? Is Anku with you?
I think maybe not today. Yeah, I think she will also go back to the kitchen. She'll say, oh, I'm going to, and just go. She wants to take a look at that costume and contents.
And B, what are you up to?
At this point, I would excuse myself from the awkward waiting period out front. I've just had such a terrible day and I need to go sit down, and I will go back into the B&B. And I'm wondering if Mrs. Carfax is still in a corner somewhere.
She is still there.
I'm just going to
Okay.
quietly sit down next to her. I'm not going to talk to her directly to start.
And LMA, what are you doing?
If it's possible, I was thinking to sidle after Abraham Stockton, try and learn a little more from him if I can get some coherent talk out of him.
Sounds good. Let's pick up with Violet. So Violet, there is like a kind of like back area that was like a mud room and like a fenced in or like a sort of like screen door, you know, kind of situation. And you can see out back that they keep like chickens and things for fresh eggs and whatnot. So what do you do?
I think I would try to inspect and look for clues as to who might be entering the premise from this, to see if I have like, a notion of like who the other party is.
What specifically do you do though? What actions do you take?
Oh, do they have footage? Like
Oh,
recording
like
the dog?
is there like close? Oh, that's interesting. Sure, maybe. Yeah, there might be a camera. Yeah, like a
So maybe if I
Nest
see the
camera or
camera, I
something.
just follow the I just look for an area where they are recording.
yeah, it's good. Make a meddling move with reason.
Let's see. +1. Do I have any detriments?
Not with your current conditions, no.
4.
Very good, very good. We shall come back to that. I've got a plan. Let's just do it now. You turn the corner. You go outside following this wire, and stepping around the corner is the Scarecrow. Their eyes glowing red underneath the cloth. Well, there's one with a button and there's one red glowing eye. And they lunge and grab you. What do you do?
I use a crowd.
Oh, you're gonna avoid this. Okay, good. Mark the crown.
I'll mark the pallid mask.
Ooh, very good. You have to talk about death now whenever you're chatting with people. Instead, I owe you a clue. We'll come back to that. Dr. Tabo, you were going back to the pantry, yes?
Yes.
Good. So what do you do?
Well, she was going to check out the Scarecrow costume, but
It's missing.
In that case, back into the kitchen, she's going to look in the cupboards to see if maybe she can find the source of the green sludge.
Good. Make a meddling move with reason.
Nine.
You will close well. Come back. LMA's following Abraham. We'll do that last. B, you sit down. Mrs. Carfax says, I was wondering how long it was going to take you to join me, dear.
B, sitting there quietly, is staring at her friend's body in the middle of the parlor and does not make eye contact with Mrs. Carfax at all. Notices that her cat baby has been kind of poking around the tea room and then has now settled next to the body, and I kind of call him over. Yes, well, there's so much to do, I say back to her.
She says, dear, don't let this trouble you. I know it probably weighs heavily on your heart that your friend is no longer with us, but you should know that there is a great and terrible storm coming. And in some ways, your friend is the luckiest of us.
I still would have spared her the pain.
Yes, I know that. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry that anyone in this world has to suffer. But the suffering is sometimes, it is the bitter medicine we must swallow in order to be made well and whole.
I truly wish I found any comfort in your words, but I must just be grieving. Did you see anything? I would just have so much more peace if I understood why.
I think if you want to make the meddling move with baby, maybe baby finds something. That could be fun.
I was going to ask maybe that the cat has been poking around this room for
Yeah.
this entire time, and maybe there's a clue that
Make
he
the
has.
meddling move with presence, and you don't have to mark baby to get advantage. So.
Ooh, I like that advantage. 8 plus. Never have my sheet open. Presence is +1, so 9 total.
Baby comes back having pulled a partially burnt letter from Leticia's pocket. The letter, if you look at it, it's unclear who it's written to or even who it's from, but it's expressing concern about cult activity in Brindlewood Bay, especially near the farm. Mrs. Carfax says, "Oh, what's that, dear?"
Oh, he's fascinated by paper. It crinkles so nicely. It must just have been in her pocket.
Do you mind if I take a look at that?
No, it's just groceries, and I fold it and put it away.
Good. Says, all right then. Keep your secrets.
Well, we all have secrets. It's best to keep them close.
Yes, I think it probably is. LMA, you can, following Abraham is not any trouble because you can hear him yowling and yammering loudly about curses and the cursed land and whatnot as he's going through the woods in the direction of the cave.
All right, I'll call after him. Abraham, let me apologize to you for that thing with the log. I might have overreacted.
At this point, you hear a honk, 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 beep, 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 beep.
Like in the distance, you're saying? Like
behind you. Yeah.
Oh, behind me.
Yeah.
Is it Sheriff Dalrymple pulling up?
No, it's Etienne in the fish truck.
Oh, got it.
He says, "Hey, foxy lady. I just came to collect the catch of the day."
Etienne, you got a thing for timing. It's almost like you're aware of my whereabouts.
It's like, well, I just I went looking for my truck and I found it at your place as usual. I don't
Yeah,
mind
it's handy.
though.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It's kind of you to lend me those keys. You never know when you need to put a body on ice again.
Can I
Speaking of
treat you
that,
to a hot fudge sundae or something from the soda fountain?
back in town, you mean?
Yep.
Mm, maybe later in the afternoon here. I've got to do a little more business here at the Snowdrop.
He's like, come on. He's like, here, come on, have a seat. Slap in the seat.
Why don't you go order us up? What's a fancy tea drink? See if they can make like an iced chai latte sort of thing for us, and we can sip that. Maybe the 2 straws, the romantic thing, with the 2 straws coming out of the 1 cup.
And then you want me to bring it back?
Oh no, I'll meet you there in a minute. I just need to chat with Abraham here for a minute. I owe him an apology. I kind of bonked him on the head.
He's like, what's the trouble? I had to swing by Snowdrop House anyway to chat with a friend of mine over there. I guess I could do it now. So I was gonna come by later on tonight. Okay, I'll be back in a bit.
Right, see you soon.
Pulls off.
Give a little wink.
You've lost track of Abraham in all this time.
I was afraid of that.
But you do see the open cave mouth.
Yep, that's where I'm going. I'm gonna go look in that cave.
Let's take a 5-minute break.
Peer in and call out, Abraham, Abraham, Abraham.
See you in 5. Let's check in on die rolls. So Violet, you're currently sitting on a mixed result meddling move, correct?
Yeah, because I bumped it up.
Yeah. And Dr. Thibault, are you on a miss right now?
No, mixed.
A mixed as well. Okay, good. And LMA, you didn't have a roll, but you lost Abraham Stockton. And B, where did we leave you? You were on a mixed result as well.
Mhm.
Of the meddling move.
Well, I think that I got mixed, but I got my clue
Oh,
already.
you got your clue already. That's right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, and the complication was just Mrs. Carfax trying to get you to show her what
Perfect.
you found. Yeah. So you're settled. You're sorted. Let's go back to Violet. Violet, you are following this wire, and the wire actually leads out a little ways away from the property. Kind of goes out a bit into to a field. Almost, it's not quite a field, but a little ways out. And stops in a little shack. Do you go in the shack?
Yes.
You open the door, and inside there is a table, a chair, a couple of TV screens. What do you do?
I power it up.
You turn everything on, and you can see that there are a few other cameras around the property, but also a camera that's watching LMA go into the cave presently. And you get a phone call.
Like at the desk or something?
Like on your personal phone.
Oh, okay. I'll answer it.
The voice on the other end says, "Oh, I think I owe you I never gave you your little task for the day, did I?" The voice on the other end says, Congratulations, Ms. Hyacinth. You're doing fabulous work.
What work am I doing?
Well, you've managed to retrieve an object that is of importance to my associates and I.
What object are you speaking of?
You know what I'm talking about. Don't play coy, Miss Hyacinth.
And how do I know the fact that you want it won't hurt my friends and I?
I could have hurt you long ago, Miss Hyacinth. Long, long ago. You realize now that this is Otho Fane of Boston who you're talking to. Was it you who originally encountered him in his little video surveillance room?
Yeah.
Yeah. You recognize his voice.
I know who you are, Otho. You better not mess with me.
Good, good. She's finally starting to put 2 and 2 together. But I fear in this case, 2 and 2 does in fact equal 5. Ms. Hyacinth, we have one last task for you.
And why should I continue working for you?
Oh dear. You'll continue working for me because very soon you're going to have to face Mrs. Carfax and her associates. And without my help, you and the entire town of Brindlewood Bay and possibly even the world are going to be destroyed.
And the tasks you give me combat that?
Oh, Mrs. Hyacinth, Violet. Just be a dear and do as you're told.
And what is it you want me to do this time?
Take that crown and follow your friend into the cave.
That's all?
Toodaloo, Violet. And he hangs up.
I suppose the number is like unknown or whatever, right? Or blocked or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I will do that, but first I want to see if there's any footage of who is doing the dealings or whatever.
Yeah, so-
the talk.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually do owe you a proper clue. If you're looking on the cameras, you're going to see the side of the house, and you see Phoenix on the side of the house, looking around to see if anybody's watching him. And he gives some money to a pair of hands just off screen. That's your clue. Meanwhile, Dr. Thibault, you hear a voice behind you. I know what you're looking for, and you're not going to find it.
Callie will freeze and kind of look back without turning her head and say, and where would I find it?
Upstairs, in the hallway just outside the rooms. There's a loose floorboard.
And you're telling me this? Why?
Let's just say some of us are ready for the truth to be known.
Callie will stay frozen for 1 second and then turn real fast to try and catch whoever it is.
You don't see them. They've just stepped away, but you do see a bit of straw on the ground near the doorway.
Great. Well,
So
then she
you get your
will,
clue, though, when you follow up with that tip.
Yep, she would follow up.
Indeed. Meanwhile, B, Mrs. Carfax says, "Can you feel that crackle in the air, dear?"
Well, it's not as cold as it has been.
That's not what I mean. Everything is coming together. Everything is coming together. Even now, your friend is about to discover something that's going to change everything.
Do I see Callie walk past the parlor and upstairs
Yes.
momentously?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Then I might get up and follow her.
Indeed.
Well, then I guess, Mrs. Carfax, we should go find out what that is, if you excuse me.
LMA.
Callie, dear.
Oh, yeah.
Then we'll go up.
Yeah, sounds good.
Curious, how does Baby the cat react to Miss Carfax?
I don't think that Baby has had any reaction to Mrs. Carfax at all.
LMA. These caves are natural caves, though there are some signs of work, like little gaps being crossed by planks of wood, even a couple of handholds here and there. Paint the scene, everyone. What in these dark caves shows that they have been used by people in the recent or distant past, and for what purposes?
I think that there is actually several Adirondack chairs just lined up at the first part of the cave, as sometimes they might pull them outside, or that they might hang out and just barbecue here. Like, it's really weird.
A little deeper in the cave, there is a hastily constructed fire pit with some logs dragged around it, and it looks like teenagers hang out. There's some chip bags.
There needs to be some ancient symbols probably painted on the walls in some places. And some of them look like they've been not drawn on, but like chipped away at, like carved permanently into it.
And there's up high in a spot where people kind of walk by and just miss it, like walk underneath it without realizing it. There's some old meat hooks that still have some sausage things dangling on them, kind of dusty, forgotten.
Violet, do you retrieve the crown and go to the cave?
Oh, yes.
you get to a certain point in the cave, LMA. It's quite dark. You might have a flashlight. I don't know.
Oh, definitely got a little flashlight in my purse.
Yeah.
It's a classic old lady move.
Oh yeah. And
Got to wiggle the batteries to make sure it lines up right sometimes, but
you hear a woman's voice up ahead in the darkness, whispering. She says, "I've been waiting for you for so long. I didn't know if you were ever going to make it. I have so much to show you." And stepping into your light is June Willoughby, who has been missing for about 6 months now. Going to cut that part of the story there, and let's do our crowns that need to be resolved. If you have Crown of the Past or anything else that needs to be narrated, give it a look and let me know when you're ready.
I'm going to tie mine back to the fireplace log. When I was, this is how I was imperfect, imperfect sister or daughter. Our family had a little cabin that we'd go to, and it had one of those cast iron stoves for heating and cooking, kind of really rustic. And I was supposed to go gather up the smaller twigs and stuff for kindling as a child, and really what I just did was went down the street to the next cabin and took their kindling and brought it back and claimed it was mine, and or that I'd done the work, and thought that I had fooled my parents into having done the chore, like put a little dirt on my face, try and make it look like I was sweaty, make my hair a little messy, like I'd done the labor, but the whole time they knew that I was shirking my little job.
Nice. Any other Crown of the Queen?
Yeah, I have a scene in the present day showing a private side of you. Very few get to see. And I think that we get like a flashback to just before we went to this place where Violet stays up at night and is drafting a story, and then she like prints out the manuscript and sends it away to like some whatchamacallit, like a very, I guess, exclusive esoterica printing house that accepts like scary occultist stories, and in it maybe like the title of the manuscript is like the blood red crown or something like that, using the inspiration from the crown to write.
Nice.
I have two to get through, and I think I'll start with the scene in the presentation showing a private side. I think that Callie, in her late at night in probably a house coat and with a glass of wine, I think she writes just trash romance. She has a pseudonym, and this is what she does at 11 p.m. And I also have a scene showing a burgeoning romance, and I think as she's typing, we see an instant message window, and she is exchanging slightly spicy messages with someone who might be someone we've met or might be someone we will meet. I think I'll let that be Jason's decision.
Good. Do we know now, or is this like a secret for later?
Anytime you feel like giving her a burgeoning romance with someone who might be, evil or not.
Okay, interesting. Good. I'll think on it. Any other Crown of the Queen? Okay, then. Let's go stars and wishes. Whoever wants to go first, take it away.
I'll go first. I had a huge star for the whole Polaroid exchange. From a mechanical side of things, a star to Jason, because that, like, I'll give you that clue in a minute, was the development time, and that was just like really, really great. But also that the condition was red eyes, and the red eyes of the dog. Well, Polaroids often have red-eyed humans in them when you take pictures. It was all excellent. I also have a star for Percy's costumes. It definitely feels like he's Periwinkle's great nephew or some.
I mean,
other
they both have
costume.
this. They both have the surname Underwood. So.
Oh, there we are.
Yeah.
Frasier, there was a moment where Callie had like locked him in the closet and you were just doing the head gesture. That was really that. It got me. It was really pretty awesome. And then Ben, you had a different moment in that same interaction in which Violet's like, well, was it a man or a woman's hand? And didn't stop to ask was a personal star as well. I really did enjoy that. And then as always, LMA's interactions with Etienne never fail to please. So yeah, it was a good game today, guys. Wishes. I'm just excited to see the darkness and go mad. Like I'm ready for it. I think we're there. The void threshold is penultimate, and yeah, it's gonna be really fun.
And star for me, I really enjoyed. I quite enjoyed the mix of like levity and darkness and emotion. It was all really good. It felt very Brindlewood Bay. So I just had a good time with the tone of everything today. And I star for Ben's idea to go into the closet with or in the pantry and just sort of like, I don't know, because to me, like, it's a very classic sort of scene to be like to have a like hiding in some clothes, like kind of scene. So I just really enjoyed that a lot. And I feel like, I can't remember, but was it Dr. Thibault who also went into the prop room and saw during exit stage death and saw Gregor Thune behaving so strangely? Was that Dr. Thibault as well? So it's kind of it's funny how often we see Dr. Thibault in this sort of like circumstance, right? Like it's just kind of funny to me. But that was really great. I always enjoy LMA and Etienne. Those are fun interactions. And I really appreciated Sarah's like being like acting appropriately and appropriately distraught and pissed off about everyone's reaction to Leticia's death. I thought that was great. Yeah, I'm very, very curious as a star and a wish to sort of to continue sort of Violet and Otho and sort of all that and kind of where that's going. I enjoyed that scene, and I will be curious to see how that plays into the final Void mystery. So yeah.
Yeah, I really liked LMA's interaction with the podcaster. It's like the disparate
Laura
age.
too. Yeah, she's a great character.
Yeah, and she kept poking her nose in and then like getting people to sign waivers. It was very like on point. And then the contrast of LMA trying to like understand this young human. That's very weird. That was great. I also really liked the reveal of Ortho being the voice that I've, at least ostensibly, that I've been talking to this entire time. And I also really liked the interaction right after the closet scene with Ben, where immediately the guy goes in to get a different costume and he's like, well, we'll just lock him right in there. And then overall the whole interaction of Sarah turning her miss and crying a grief thing into like playing on the feelings of the other guy in order to get a confession ultimately was really great. And then I also just like that we all are like the strangeness ramping up has made a lot of sense, like with each episode. Like this one we're like out of sorts and like yeah, just sort of like everybody in the town is accepting of the uncanniness and the strangeness that is happening.
It's
Whereas
funny how much this particular session felt like a Twin Peaks episode.
Yeah.
Like it had like big Twin Peaks vibes, right? For reasons not the least of which is like we see Violet dressed up as our mustache wearing ranch hand at the beginning. You know, like it just had that just felt like that felt Twin Peaksy weird to me. So I was very happy with that.
Yeah. And Wish, well, yeah, I just want to see what happens in the cave with me wearing my crown. It's a bad idea, but I love it.
Well, yeah, what's June doing in there, right? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, also the return of June. Excellent.
I was glad to see the what's what I'm looking for, kind of the rising of cult activity, that it's becoming more omnipresent was really nice. I also liked, and I guess this is also partially a wish, the notion of us possibly being celebrities outside of our town is kind of adorable. I hope that something more comes of that in the future.
To the true crime community,
real or false, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's fun to kind of play on that level of notoriety. I don't remember who said it, but the line "you dropped your mustache" was just amazing.
That was Percy about Violet, and even though like I enjoyed doing that line because like it was like showing what's happening in the scene without having to say you dropped your mustache, like that was kind of fun, so.
And what else? Just late reveal from Ben, but with Callie's trashy romance. That's awesome. Like the academic professor who late at night is like, all right, here I go.
She puts that history degree to good use.
Yeah. And then Sarah had the line about going undercover in the soup kitchens early on, was really quite nice too.
Stars for I felt like this is like we've gone over the hill. We're now careening down to the inevitable confrontation, and this felt like late season special episodes. Really cool.
I think Mrs. Carfax is being so open about like guess what, we're about to destroy the world, which I think is interesting.
And tying in Otho was really good. I just enjoyed, the podcaster had a big star in my notes. Just I loved having her narrate things as we're just standing there trying to figure out, and she's just going on. That was great. And I guess it's a side wish. I want to see, like, does she have a big following? Are we going to be even more famous now with the mass murder mystery fans? Yeah, just all the little interactions with Brett were great. I like Brett. He's a big dummy. He's so funny. And I'm looking forward to seeing the Scarecrow was gone. Let's see what happened to the Scarecrow. And yeah, I think that's.
I think tying up this murder is going to be interesting, because this is a wish for me, because like 2/3 of the clues are very much implying some kind of corruption or scheme, but there's a couple that sort of imply that there's a cult angle as well. And so it'll be curious to see if those get incorporated or explained away or whatever. I don't know, but because it seemed like it was a pretty mundane thing in the beginning, and maybe it still is, but yeah, I think that'll be really interesting to see how it sort of plays out. You're very, very close to being able to theorize, but yeah.
I have one last star because I forgot, I was raging about it in the comments, but the fact the podcaster always referred to every single one of us as the old lady.
Even after she had like forms with names and introduced to everybody, that was all she narrated was the old woman.
I love that character. This mystery is written by David Morrison, and this is my favorite mystery of the ones that were written by other people. And I love the characters. I love Percy. I love Percy so much that I made Periwinkle for the Between, right? And Laura Sanchez is a great character. Like my top 5 Brindlewood Bay characters. I really dig her. She's terrific. So star to David for writing this mystery. Any other stars or wishes before we go? Okay, well, I'm going to stop the recording.